me kick this brand new vibe about government from inside. This to all's not something new, established to go about 2,000 years and still it thrives. Hearts of men came to revive. Special remnant soldier rise to rise, advance and pulverize the hierarchy that's anti-God. Prophetic themes are just like squads. Deliverance the children's bread, strengthen us to bruise his head. Listen all to what is said. Faith helped me rise from the dead. Now I am part of the host. Lyrics heard from coast to coast. Weaponry, the words I speak, engage the ears to those I reach to. Pull them from the clutches of Satan that shows them no love. Plan comes from commander's throne. Earth's condition a war zone. My objective, preach the truth, to teach the truth, to reach the youth. So I tune my spirit in to the frequency of him. So I hear all that he say, and I shall fully obey. As I walk, fulfill his will. If I'm martyred, then I'm killed. Cause of Christ, I won't feel death. Love not my life to last breath. I move to the beat of a different drum. Don't get mad cause I did not run, just because that is what you want. God is an audience of one. I will receive marching orders from the King of Kings. In his authority I sing music for the King of the Kingdom. My commitment, agreement is deep as covenant cement. When storms rage and beat vehement, cause enemy wants to prevent. So I must endure the drama. Can't cry die mama, must cry Abba, cause I please the Father. When I push the kingdom far, domain advance, I take the chance that shall enhance my priestly stance. Not fake or fans rehearsing can't, no time romance the world's finance. Cause when I flow, hearers perceive the principles that they gon' need. I don't have greed because I know what I don't see is eternal. That's why I pledge allegiance to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and bring my body to subjection. He is what I'm living for. So don't be swayed by youthful lust, cause they go bust. You cannot trust, the world is dusted, keeps you frustrated on the rush. Christ is enough. I move to the beat of a different drum. Don't get mad cause I did not run, just because that is what you want. God is an audience of one. I will receive marching orders from the King of Kings. In his authority I sing music for the King of the Kingdom. I move to the beat of a different drum. Don't get mad cause I did not run, just because that is what you want. God is an audience of one. I will receive marching orders from the King of Kings. In his authority I sing music for the King of the Kingdom. Used to try to do my thing, now I'm living for the King. Now I'm living for the King. Used to try to do my thing, used to try to do my thing. Now I'm living for the King. Now I'm living for the King. Oh, 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 darn it, I should have done this, cleared my throat before I said my first ha ha ha. Welcome to episode 3 of the Matt Ellipsis Show at Facebook Live via YouTube. Okay? I am so grateful that you're watching. I am so grateful to be here. I'm grateful for my tap water. We broadcasting to you from the wonderful Toma, Wisconsin. we've been here for several years now, and I thought that I would not be staying here. I was ready to move back to Illinois. That was the original. That was my. I wanted to be back in Illinois. And as I mentioned in episode 2, while I was driving back and forth when I got my job, this is 2009. When I was driving back and forth, I remember asking the Lord, why am I driving back and forth like this? And he said, this is your territory. And what I knew what he meant when I heard those words in my heart. I knew what it meant. And here it is 10 years later from those words. And I'm walking in that concept, and I see that it's going to take a few more years in order for everything that I remember that to mean, for it to be fully developed. When a person, so let me explain to you real quick. This is your territory. I've got a military background, and when I was in 2009, when I got the job, I got a job working for the 88th Regional Support Command, and the 88th Regional Support Command, their function was to be the landlords of all of the Army Reserve locations throughout, west of the Mississippi River. And if I'm not mistaken, let me see. It was no. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm saying it wrong. 85th Support Command. I was a part of 2 units at the same time. In my reserve unit, I was part of the 85th Support Command, and for my civilian job, I was part of the 88th Regional Support Command. Now, both of those things, as a civilian, you probably don't really know what that means. 88th Support Command, 85th Support Command, or whatever. Military people understand that when you know what your unit is, sort of helps understand. When you know what unit you are in, it helps understand where your jurisdiction is. And so the 85th Support Command was a unit that provided support to the reserve soldiers that were in active duty units. Like, there were active duty units west of the Mississippi that had reserve units with them, and so they would do their thing with their active soldiers and then their AGR soldiers, but then their reserve units would come once a month. And so it was kind of interesting. And so the commanders who would come in to those units, they were all active components, so they didn't always know how to treat the reserve component units that were only once a month. They had civilian jobs and couldn't always make it to drill, with the same vigor that active component soldiers and the AGR soldiers would, but they were still part of their unit. And those were called multi-component units. And so the 85th Support Command, we provided administrative support over those reserve soldiers. And what we would do is we would bring the active duty commanders to our little spot in Arlington Heights, interact with them, and help them understand how to be a good leader of these specific soldiers, because they're not like the ones you're used to. You're used to being able to say, soldier, do this, soldier, do that. And they say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and go do it with no problem and can work around the clock. But these reserve soldiers, you can't call them up in the middle of the month and expect them to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I'll do that. And they drop their life or whatever. And so reserve units that were connected to those active component units, they had a lot of dramas or whatever. So so anyway, so I was working in the legal office, and so we would provide support, and so there was a lot of different things that whatever. I'm not going to get into it, but so I understood what our unit did is west of the Mississippi River. We had active component installations, and reserve units. So I understood, how I sometimes I used to travel to all those different units, and I understood how to talk the lingo to the active and then to the reservists, and straighten out the different problems that we had to work on with them. And it was a wonderful experience. To be able to understand how to be a leader, how our unit was a leader over all these different units or whatever, and to be able to I would set my schedule. Sometimes it's because the West Coast, they were 2 hours behind us, so I'd come in early so that I could get good on my day, start on my day. And sometimes I'd have to work till maybe like 6 or 7 o'clock, or maybe even 8 o'clock sometimes, because the West Coast people, whatever we had to do with them, they're 2 hours behind. And so, if they're getting off at 4:30, if I work till 6:30, then at least I'm kind of, able to be there for them or whatever, and it was very, very fun. Now, at the same time that I was doing this job on the reserve side out, because I did that full time for a little while, and then I went down to part time, and so as a reservist. So my reserve duty was doing that, and then I got a civilian job at Fort McCoy, and the 88th Regional Support Command. We had a jurisdiction that was I'm not saying this right at this moment because it's been a little while, but basically the entire United States was divided into 4 different regional support commands, and the 88th was one of them, and I believe we had 25 states, or 18 or 19 states or something like that, because eventually, did it go down to 2? Whatever. It doesn't matter. So you have 4 different states, and so the legal office. So I worked in that legal office as a civilian, and so our responsibility, our unit, the 88th, their responsibility was to all the reserve units that were in this group of 20 states or whatever. And so, they would, there were problems that required legal, there were also soldiers attached to these units or whatever. So we had to do some stuff dealing with soldiers, but there was, real estate law that we had to deal with and stuff like that. That fascinating stuff. One day I'm hoping to be able to do an interview with some of my old bosses or whatever, so we could kind of talk about this stuff, because it helped me understand jurisdiction. So when I went to work for the 85th, I knew what our jurisdiction was, and at the 88th, I knew what our jurisdiction was. And I remember one day being on a trip where I had to drive to the West Coast, and while I was driving, when I crossed over the lines where I was in one of the states that my units had jurisdiction over, I remember how I felt like, oh my God, I'm getting close to, this is our territory. Wow, this is our area that we manage or whatever. Now, it's when you have a territory, you have a route. There's salespeople. They have a route. They have a territory. I remember that when I was a truck driver, Mondays and Wednesdays, I'd go from Rockford back to Elgin. Elgin was the starting place, and I'd go to Rockford, and the kind of places in between, and come back, and then Tuesday was a different location going south, and Thursday was a different location, and Friday was a different location. But I had it was my territory, so all those different businesses or whatever that I had to deliver the goods to, knew where they were, and you go to the areas and like these are, it's like, yeah, this is the area that I got to cover. When I was a FedEx ground guy, Elgin was the place, so I had to get the map, and I put the little check marks on the map of where I had to go, and so I built my little route, and I developed a relationship with Elgin because I was the FedEx guy, and so it's like, wow, this is my territory. And I didn't understand that I was being groomed to understand, because right now I have what's called the Matt Ellipsis District, right? And that's something, that concept came up way later, maybe 2 years ago, maybe, or whatever. But in 2009, by 2009, when he said, this is your territory, I understood what that meant. It meant that I had some responsibility in a certain physical location. I had a responsibility. And so, when I moved to California, that was one of the first places that where mentally I had no inhibitions about caring for the people that was around me. The installation at 400 Liggett, I was in the legal office there. I was a master sergeant, and so I'm on active duty. I'm full-time status for 3 years. And at first we lived off post, and then my family, we all moved on post. So I'd be at post. The police officers, they, as a paralegal, I worked with the police station a lot, worked with the headquarters a lot, worked with the other units on post. I used to go to the dining facility in the morning, and what I used to do is I had that installation, there were certain people that I had to regularly be in touch with, so we would work together. And so I would do my job, and I would do my best to do my job in such a way that there was enthusiasm, enjoyment. People did not feel bad about, I gotta go to the legal office. They knew that they come in there. I was present for duty. I was clear-minded. I served that population of people the best that I could. I had three. I had three, sometimes four, and maybe at one time 5 lawyers that I was the paralegal for. And then we had for the first year, it was myself and Master Sergeant Griffin. So he and I were together, and then he taught me a lesson. So he left, and so the remaining 2 years it was just me, and maybe once in a while I had another paralegal come in once in a while. But I served that community, and my music stuff, I didn't do it. It wasn't the priority. Where I found a lot of places to go perform, but it ended up being something that I did do just enough of to where I've got some very, very good video footage of us being out there, of different performances and stuff like that. And so it made me feel like, oh my God, I'm probably going to end up coming back to California at whatever time. And so California, but I credit California. I credit my time at 400 Liggett that, like I said, that I had no inhibitions about serving and doing everything I could do. I joined different little volunteer things so that I could be a part of certain things that were making a difference and having a good positive effect. When a lot of soldiers would come on post, I wanted to, do things to bless if I could. I ran the movie theater. So that was interesting. I can't wait to talk about some of that experience or whatever, because you're when you have a when you are called or designated to be the person who provides certain services to a community, you are putting yourself out there. I guess if you got a grocery store, or if you have a movie theater, a restaurant, a club, there we go. Got a bug, man. Doggone it. A church, a post office, a news publication, a bowling alley, a bar. When you open your doors for business, you are basically building a relationship with the people of that community. And based on what you do, you build expectations to those people. You end up basically being responsible for managing the expectations of your customers or clients or whatever. And I learned a little bit of that while I was out there at 400 Liggett. I at least learned how to be a part of a community, because when I grew up, we moved around a lot. I only had one quote best friend by the time I was in eighth grade. In eighth grade, we moved to Oak Park after my grandfather died. And while we were in Oak Park, I went to Percy Julian Junior High. And if we had stayed in Oak Park, which would have been okay with me, then I would have gone to Oak Park River Forest. And so my classmates from eighth grade, that's where they were going. We're going to OPRF, and that's where I would have been. That's where I would have went to high school or started my high school time. But my dad sold the condo, and then my sisters and I, we moved to Arlington Heights, Illinois. So we're out. So I go to my first my first year in high school. That was the first time that I had ever been stable, because I was there for a year and a half, and then I ran away from home, and then I moved to live with my mother and spent a year and a half of high school time in Maywood. So I went to Proviso East. So I kind of call that time period the Mad Dog years, because my first rap name was the Mad Dog. And to a degree, those of you who recognize me as the M, if you remember that stage name, the M, which I still am, the M ... That is how the actual where the M came from was I used to be the Mad Dog, MADDAWG, the Mad Deranged A-hole with a gun. That was my stage name when I first started to rhyme, and while I was in high school or whatever. And so So I moved around again, and then after I was in Maywood or whatever, I signed up to join the military, and so then I went back to Palatine and graduated from Palatine High School, and then went off to the military, and so then I went to Kentucky and Maryland, and then was stationed down at Fort Hood for 2.5 years. So all of my life, I don't think I spent more than 3 years in one location. My entire life, I've always moved around. I've never been able to just be somewhere, and it's not anybody's fault. My parents, they had the scenario they had, and then, when, my high school years, I did the dumb stuff that I did that made me run away from home, and it's the dumbest story. One day I'll tell you the story about me running away from home. It's the dumb story. It's the dumbest story. But I loved being in Maywood, and I remember just last week, I sent my wife a text about where we're gonna move, eventually, whatever, and in my head I was like, Maywood. I want to move back to Maywood, man, because it's the property value is probably pretty decent right there, and it's not that far from in the city, and it would feel like home. Oh, I love Maywood. Oh my God, I just loved it. And I gotta say, I do love Arlington Heights, where we used to live at. All the different places, or there's some places that I live more than Schaumburg. I love Schaumburg. There's so many places that I lived that I loved. Aziz, I found out Aziz Jinadu. I found out that he's living in Killeen, and I'm like, man, I love Killeen. But anyway, I moved around a lot. So when somebody, and being in the military, if somebody says this is your territory, I already know it's always way too big of an area, way too big, which means I have to travel, or you have to figure out ways to communicate with everybody so that you can get the job or jobs done or whatever. So I understood that you can live one place and then be able to govern another place, or serve. Govern is probably not the best word, but serve. Govern is a good word. Doggone it, it is a good word. Whatever area that is your area to take care of, and if you look at there's a particular scripture, they talk about the parable of the talents or whatever. And one of the benefits, it says, hey, you did good with these 5 talents, so you're going to rule this amount of cities. You did good with this amount of talents, you're going to rule these amount of cities. And it's like, wow, man, so I get this. So I understand or at least at that level, I understood the concept. Okay, and so by the time. By this particular time in my life, I understood the way that I felt is we were going to be in Chicago. We were on the west side of Chicago. The home on the west side of Chicago, part of the reason why I loved my home was because that was an address I was able to put on my driver's license. It was a long-term address. I had that address on my driver's license from the time we moved in 2007 all the way up until my driver's license expired in 2018. And it was my driver's license and listen, this may sound stupid to some of y'all, okay? But my driver's license you know, when I was traveling, when I was living in California, when I was working back and forth, working up in Fort McCoy and driving back home. Even when I was living in Camp Douglas and living here in Toma, home for me was Chicago on the west side on Central Park and Cermak. That was home. That was where, that was my address. That was my home. And I always intended to go back there. And when that place, no longer, was mine, I didn't change my driver's license for a little while, because it was hard to accept that I was ending that time period there, and I did not want to officially be in Wisconsin. And I remember in 2013 and 2014, I still own my place in Chicago, but my whole life was up here in Camp Douglas and Fort McCoy. And my my lawyers, that I work with, they spent a significant amount of time trying to convince me, Matt, you need to change your home of record. I was like, sir, ma'am, I can't do it. One day, well, I guess I don't have to bring them on to the show just to present that. But bottom line is that the lawyers that I was working with in the office, they would sit me down and give me reasons, say, listen, this money, you're losing this amount of money and that amount of money because you're going back and forth, and if you live out of state or you live X amount of miles away from the reserve unit, when you come in, you're entitled to get a hotel room or, a few extra dollars for the travel and stuff like that. And I didn't want to accept any of that money. And I forfeited some of that money because I wanted it recognized I'm in Chicago. And I was always hoping and planning and trying to work it out to be back in Chicago and be back at my home and go back to that scenario where I was, living in Chicago, driving back and forth to Fort McCoy and, getting back home. But I'm talking about it finally, after driving back and forth and, it costed me way more money to go to drill than it should have. Finally, I relented and went downstairs and did the change of address. And I'm talking about it was a big deal for me to do that because so then, a few extra dollars come in and it made it a lot more livable, and they were right. And, then it was like, okay, I can do this duty back and forth and it's not hurting me so much financially, to go back and forth. And so now the extra money that I was entitled, it came, but it was like, you got strands. And so now that's one thing, like you're holding on to something and now they take, so now I'm holding on to, things, holding on to my home and holding on to that. I was holding on to this address symbolically. It was giving me, I was able to say this is where I was at because I hated moving around, or whatever. I hated always being moving. I just, and I didn't, it wasn't that I minded being traveling or doing whatever, but it's just like, Sometimes it's like, which way is up? Which way is up? And that's why with the military, you don't have to see. Great example. This is a great example. Sorry for this long. I'm hoping that those of you that those of you that have known me for a while. Oh man, give me just a second. Those of you that have known me for a while, I recognize that I'm, not as normal as many people, but if that piece of information that I'm telling you, that from the time I was born up until the time that my wife and I in 2007 bought a home, if that information right there gives you a nice chunk of insight into who I am as a person, which and that's just that when if you have a person moving around as much as I did because of whatever, it does something to a person. And I understood the military. One of the things that the military did for me was it gave me the idea that your headquarters is home base, and you can be far from home base for a while, but as long as you have connection with your home base, you're all right. You know what I'm saying? And so, with the churches that I was a member of, I was able to draw comfort from the fact that the church still exists. But when I would go home, yeah, there would be people that I remember and all that, and the people that were longstanding members or whatever. It was great, I never, missed a beat with many of those people. But sometimes when, from their perspective, out of sight, I'm out of mind, I'm not saved anymore. And that's why that's part of the reason why I'm so grateful to Facebook, is because I know how to have a long distance relationship. I believe that I know how to have a long distance relationship because I've been doing it for all these years, have working relationships. And I like to have productive relationships. A casual relationship is good, but then sometimes those casual relationships turn into productive relationships, and a productive relationship can turn into a casual relationship. And I understand that in a certain way, and that's how I like to, at times I like to define, okay, here's my casual relationships, and these are my working relationships, and these are my these are the relationships of people that I cry on their shoulder. These are the relationships where they cry on my shoulder. These are the relationships that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I've got sort of like a file, in my head. I got a file on everybody that, so that I can do whatever it is that I'm supposed to do in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Because I've got a responsibility. When I was at 400 Liggett, sometimes I had a responsibility to open up the theater and play a movie to those people, right? And then, then there were directorate heads, part of the command team, or part of the command, one of the directors. I had responsibility to them to make sure that the lawyers reviewed some of their paperwork or whatever. So depending on who you are, I know what I'm supposed to do for you. or what you're supposed to do for me and what our working relationship is. And my goal was always to have a great attitude as we're working together, because it's nothing worse than dealing with a person who does not enjoy their day on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Who's just not a happy person. Then, you know, sometimes whatever, it's lacking. But anyway, when I became a paralegal, okay, at 21, I started the road to becoming a paralegal. So from 21 up until I became when was the last time? Maybe 2015, maybe 2015. Periodically, at every stage in my paralegal growth, there was a point at which I needed to fly to Charlottesville, Virginia, the home of the JAG Corps. Okay, as a paralegal, Charlottesville, Virginia, the University of Virginia has a nice little building designated for the judge adjutant group, judge advocate JAG, JAG. Doggone it. I haven't been in a while. But for the lawyers and the paralegals, that is the school for the lawyers and the paralegals. Court reporters are born from there. And they have in the basement the non-commissioned officer portion, that's where the paralegals are. That's where the paralegals go. And so you go down there, and we had our little traditions of what we did. And so when you go through a class and you're there for a month or 2 months or whatever, and you're there and you do all of the stuff that you got to do, and by the end of the class, by the end of the course, every class has to give a gift to the academy, to give a gift to the to the place, that's our hallowed ground. You know what I'm saying? And so you look at the examples of gifts that people have given over the years, and you're connected to all the other paralegals. So if I meet another paralegal who's at a certain level or whatever, it's like I know that they've been there, and we can reminisce about home base, Charlottesville, Virginia, the JAG school. That was home base. And when I went there, I was like, oh my God, I'm a JAG Corps soldier. I'm a paralegal. Oh, it's so amazing. And then each year or each time that I had to go back, because you go back for one school and then you go back for another development school, and then you may go back for another school. And each time I would go there, I would go in and kiss the ground, and it's freaking disgusting to kiss the floor, but that was home. You know what I'm saying? That was, and that is the way I felt about CCW when I was going to church 4 days a week there until in 2003 I was mobilized, so I had to go to Fort McCoy for 2.5 years. So I go to Fort McCoy for 2.5 years, and during that 2.5 years, that's when I got engaged. And when those 2.5 years was over, my wife and I, we were planning when we were going to be married. And when I came home, I remember I walked in the door to CCW, and I came in, I kissed the floor, and I was just like happy to be back. It's like that was home. But, I had been gone for 2.5 years, and even though I still had relationships with the various people, everything was different, and and my wife, she had already, experienced the differences, and she was trying to communicate with me that things were different. And I, because I wanted to, I was happy to have belonged, somewhere for a long period of time, that I didn't even consider moving to another church. Didn't even consider it. And I do remember that just as plainly as he said, "This is your territory" in 2009, I remember plainly getting the message from him, it's time to move on. And I didn't move on. I didn't listen. And then I was just like, I told a story last, maybe in the first episode, about Adrian, who committed suicide. And there was a point at which he was not allowed, to come to the church, anymore or whatever. And that didn't come up in my mind at the time that I was personally asked to leave or whatever, but I, so thank God, Pastor Brian by that time was, he was running this church in Chicago Heights, and that became my new home, and I personally haven't moved my personal membership from there. And, and I kind of don't intend to, move my personal membership, even though my physical body, I can't be there. Pastor Brian and Pastor Carla, have been for me, what the JAG Corps was for me. It was a place that I belonged, and just because I wasn't there every Sunday, due to whatever's going on, Pastor Brian and Pastor Carla, they didn't forget me, They didn't treat me as though I wasn't around. And my Christian rap friends, I held on to a lot of my Christian rap friends past the date of our relationship, like the relationship should have been over. But I held on to that because that was a group of people that I felt for. And I put my wife through unnecessary heartache because I could not let certain things go. I could not let certain people go. Just because, now see, and it's not that I couldn't leave. I have no problem getting up and leave. I'm used to packing up, change duty station, boom, go. But we've got email, text, phone. I can always talk to whoever it is that I'm in a relationship with. I mean, I still keep in communication with a lot of people that I've known, and that's like I said, I'm grateful for Facebook, because Facebook has enabled me to reconnect with different people just to find out a different version of a story that happened that I didn't remember. I remember that there was this girl that I had had a relationship with in high school, and after we had our little time together, she moved away, and I hadn't seen her before. I hadn't seen her again, and then I left for the military, and I always wondered about what happened to her. And years and years and years and years later, I'm married, and that person's married, and so there's no interest. But I always wondered if she had a child by me. I always wondered about that. And Facebook found her, and I was like, and I remember my wife sitting next to me. My wife knows etiquette. Okay, so she was advising me on how to interact and how to broach the subject, Is that my baby? Right? Like, you don't. That's what I was gonna do. My wife, she was trying to advise me, and but I've been waiting for this moment I've been waiting for this particular moment. Oh my God, to be able to find out if she had a baby, and I didn't know, and to find out, let me tell you. I've been waiting for this moment for like 15 years. I started looking at all the pictures. I'm looking at all the pictures, and I'm looking at all the kids. I'm looking. All right, I'm looking. All right. Okay. All right. So that's all right. Mm-hmm. And then, send a couple of messages, and within about 2 or 3 messages, I learned, that that the only 2 children that I have are the ones with my wife, and it felt good. It felt good to have that curiosity solved. Let me see something. This is what's funny about Facebook. Okay, good. All right, so that's that. So it felt good to solve that mystery. So, but having a place to belong, that's what I needed, so, retirement right now, I was anticipating, that I got security in a certain date, my ETS date, 2036. When I in 2003, when I was before I got married, I had a military ID card that had all my stuff on there, and on the back of it, it says your ETS date is 2013. I'm sorry, forgive me. We were in 2005, and it's July. I just reenlisted. I reenlisted for an indefinite reenlistment, and so I'm headed to get married that particular October, and it said your ETS date is 2036. So in 2005, that was the first time I got a vision for the end date of my military career was 2036. That date, it seemed I couldn't, that date, I had to sit with that date for like a week and just think about what is 2036. It's 2005 right now. And I had to think. And so over the years, by 2009, 2036 was filling up. Like I understood, okay, all right. So this is, so I'm navigating in my mind what's gonna be going on or whatever. Just kind of putting certain things in perspective. Okay, all right, okay, I'll be this particular age. What do I want to have accomplished, and kind of putting that stuff together. Coming up with the plan and stuff like that. So in 2009, when I felt the Lord say, this is your territory. All these things that I just mentioned, they're all in my head and in my heart. And so I understood what it meant at the time. And then, now 10 years later to be living in what I remember that I see, which is part of the reason why when I'm writing music, I like to write I write within the season I'm in, but I also, if I'm writing a song in a season, I will interact with future seasons and write. So that way, when I'm listening to something, it helps me remember the piece of insight that I got at that particular time. And I know what I just said sounds weird, but an example of that is when Jesus went into the temple and he opened up the book and he started to read. He started to read a particular passage of scripture that I believe came out of Isaiah. I believe. The spirit of the Lord is upon me too. And then he started naming off a bunch of stuff that he would do. And he stopped at a certain point in that passage and says, today, this day, this particular scripture is fulfilled in your eyes. And then, if you go back and look at the rest of the passage, then it's like, what happened to that? What happened to the rest? Why didn't you read all of it? And it's because that particular, years prior when that was written, it was talking about a bunch of stuff, and so it was, some of that was referring to that particular time, that Jesus day, and then some other of it was referring to another point in the future or whatever. And so some of my music, some of the properties of my music, where I'm writing, recognizing that one day this is going to be the past, a distant past. And so I need to pull from the future to put in here so that it makes sense or whatever. Like when I wrote at 21, I wrote, this is an introduction to a new era. I did not know what I didn't understand. I knew what I was writing because I was writing it, but I didn't know the long-term significance, because when I listened to this is an introduction to a new era right now, I recognized, I think I talked about this in the first episode, the 3 dots. The 3 dots, I have 3 eras of my life. And the first era ended in September 2017. So from the day of my birth up until September 2017, that was the first era of my life. The second era of my life started in September or October 2017, and that second era is over in 2036. And what's funny is, what's funny is this. So my stage name is the m. right? And I earned my first dot. I have not earned fully yet my second and my third dot. So I'm not the person yet that I fully will be. So I'm calling myself the m. But really, all the time that everybody's known me in what I call the first dot era, I had not even lived up to the first dot of the m. So I didn't even deserve to call myself the m. And I know it sounds stupid. What I'm saying, I know it sounds dumb, okay? It does. But the people who have been with me, and have been walking with me with my music for a while, hopefully you'll appreciate that bit of insight, because I appreciate it. Like, oh, snaps. I did not fully earn my first dot until, and then so now I'm in the process of earning my second dot. Now, what is a dot? I don't know what a dot. I don't know what a dot is. I don't, but it's really. So I could almost say the m. Or I could say Matthew Walker. This is my life's work. I am working on my life's work. How many years did it take for Noah to build the ark? Those of you guys who don't believe that there was a real ark, I got you on that. But theoretically, how long would it take for somebody to build a huge monstrosity like that? It would take some time. How long did it take for God to create the entire world? When the Bible talks about, and the first day and the second day and the third day and the fourth day and stuff like that, there are some people I've heard say, that first day was 1,000,000 years and blah. And there's a particular scripture, I believe it's in Psalms or whatever, 1,000,000 days with the Lord is one day, and one day is like 1,000, whatever. Got it. Okay, got it. Long time. So the point I'm making is, I don't know what the dot is per se. I just know that I'm glad that that name came to me as or that I chose that name. But anyway, the point I'm making is that in 2009, I understood that I was supposed to be, that this is my territory, and I felt that I could do it from one. I felt I can do everything. I know I want to, where I want to live. But hey, so now we're here. Doggone it. We're here in Tomah. And Tomah's beautiful. Tomah's a wonderful place. And the thing that I'm happy about, as much as I've moved, everywhere that I've moved, I've always found a way to be comfortable. But here in Tomah, I was comfortable, but I did not want to let my hair down. I did not want to be a part of this community, because when you leave, when I left 400 Liggett, I'm talking about when I went back to 400 Liggett in 2018. I went back out there. I flew out there. I got $200 round trip. And then I got a rental car. And so I went back up to 400 Liggett and drove around and just but everything had changed. It wasn't, everything was different. It wasn't, that season was that season. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've had to just accept that at the end of a season, that's why I video record as much as I do. I video record because you know what? My videos, that's my home. Because if I gotta move around a lot, I'm gonna take as much footage as I can, because sometimes you don't remember certain things or whatever. So thank God, my Facebook friends and my video footage, the songs, and when I do songs and people come on the song with me or whatever, I don't look at it. I used to look at it as hey, that means that we're gonna be performing together or whatever. Now it don't matter. I'll do a song with somebody and we won't talk no more. Whatever, I'm not tripping or whatever, you know what I'm saying, anymore, because it's like that was a snapshot of that season. Thank God we got some music done together, and I've had to accept that, you know what I'm saying. Now, mind you, throughout 2020, one of the things I would love to be able to accomplish is getting a band. I would love to have a band, especially if I'm going to be here in Toma. Come on, I should be able to, hopefully my hope is that I could get a band together, and then so that we can, make a little bit of music together, you know what I'm saying, and or do something. But right now I'm focused on the Matt Ellipsis Show. I worry about band stuff, at another time. Right now I'm privileged to be able to do these Friday nights in Sparta, Wisconsin. The club owner, Angelo, he is a wonderful man, and he served the young people in Sparta for 3 years, and so now he's moved on, and he's now selling beer, and it puts me in a situation where I can interact with the people in this area like I've longed to. So the thing that I'm torn right now, because I want to talk a little bit about, and really go into more specifics about the tickets and all that other stuff. But I really need to tell you a story of what happened on the 21st. What happened at work regarding this. So, I had the privilege, like I said, to you guys, the two groups of people that I now care about is my family and my Facebook friends. These are the two groups. Now, I gotta spend time with my family, but I intend to put work in and spending time with my Facebook friends, meaning I'm gonna be putting stuff here because it's a virtual relationship. It's a relationship that's, it's personal and impersonal depending on the person. You know what I'm saying? With Angelo, let me see if I can put his picture up. Let's see. Let me go down here. Let me do this. Just made 2 more friends, baby. What's going on? Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, here we go. All right. Sorry about that. He got... All right, so here we go. So this is Angelo and his wonderful wife, Alini. That's his daughter. Hold on, let me find a good picture. Oh, goodness. There we go. Let me see. And you know what that looks like? That looks like it's at the 88th. Anyway. Oh, no, I guess. Well, maybe not. Anyway, so Angelo and his wonderful wife, they run the club at 608 Live. And they have granted me the privilege, like I said, to be, to have my little 2-hour events on Friday nights, to kind of kick off the happy hour, and then it'll go into whatever else the theme for the night is. So anyway, Angelo is a DJ. Angelo, I'm an MC, and I've had to really, I'm telling you, it's so good to embrace the concept of myself as an MC. I used to only consider myself a rapper, and I never considered myself a minister. And even that minister title or something like that, it didn't fit me. It might have been something that other people might have felt about me, and not that I did not accept it to a degree that other people accepted. But the term MC, that feels like me. That fits right. You know what I'm saying? That term fits right. Seriously. Okay. So when you think about me throughout the years, when you look at, those of you that know me for years, that term MC, that term, if I had embraced that term back when I was in high school or in my early adulthood, I probably would have navigated my life a little bit different. I only embraced the term rapper and possibly minister a little bit. I never really fully embraced it. It felt like Saul's armor to embrace the term minister. David, he did not put on Saul's armor when he fought Goliath. He just used what he was comfortable with. And I've always been able to be comfortable with rapper. And so he is a DJ. The natural ally of the MC is the DJ. And so he and I, when he came to the job, it was like, boom. Oh, snaps. And we hit it off. This is my friend, And so, while I've been traveling for the past 3 years, doing whatever, he's been steady on the grind, working his club, blessing Sparta and stuff like that. And so me, coming to 608 Live on a regular basis for a year, it means a lot because this is the next level of our relationship and our friendship, being productive. He's in my life for a reason. I'm in his life for a reason. And it's not, it's not only for making a profit. Yes, I'm looking forward to taking all of this work. If you look at my website and you look at all of the work that I put into my ability to get on stage and do some stuff, my ability to interact with people and pull out good content out of any situation. There's practically no situation that you can put me in that I can't pull out some good content out of it. There's some good content I can find in any situation. Okay. So that's what I'm good at. Right. And so I should be able to finally put this in a scenario not where I should be able to put what I do and what he does. We should be able to work together and provide a service to this community, Toma, Sparta, La Crosse. If you guys want to come down, we'd love to have you. Mauston, if you want to come on up, love to have you. West Salem, if you want to come on over, we'd love to have you. And there's, Angelo and his lovely wife, they let me know that there are different other communities. And, I kind of knew it, but I didn't know that because I haven't had a chance to go involve and go hang out in some of those communities or whatever. And now I'm going to, I'm going to go interact with some of those little communities and just go into the town. Because when I was in California, I was there for 3 years. And for the first year, I got a chance to just drive around and look around. I thought I was only going to be there for a year. So I just I didn't make any big plans of, we're going to do this. I just lightly or whatever and get involved in a little church for a little while. Didn't join the church, just got involved with them. And then they put me in front of the church and blessed the church or whatever. And okay, hey, come do that again. And, so I'm involved with them a little bit and, I'm okay. Am I leaving? Oh, I'm going to stay for another year. Okay, wow. So yes, I hang out some more. And then there's another church and there's another church and there's another group of people. And then these people, they're not church people, but they, hey, so that's just, so I, and so then I'm going around doing stuff and it was spectacular. So by the time we left, it's like, okay, and then if I was on point at that time, I would have known to connect with a lot of people via Facebook. I did, so I still got some of those relationships, but I wasn't thinking about that long term. I just oh my God, here we go again. I'm moving again, moving back. But I was happy to come back because I was ready to go back to CCI and go back to my scenario or whatever. Anyway, but Angelo, he made me feel at home because he was what I've needed for years. I've needed a DJ for years. Okay? I've needed a DJ. Somebody who knew my music so that when I get up there, he got all my instrumentals. He knows what's best to articulate in front. I've always done it by myself or with whatever, you go there, get a disc to the sound man, blah, blah, whatever you kind of do. And that's okay. But if I'm going to take my abilities to the next level, doggone it, you got to have a team. And I'm on his team. You know what I'm saying? And so I got a DJ. So I'm saying that in 2021 and 2022, I'm looking forward to he and I developing that MC DJ relationship even closer so that we've got some output for you guys. I do have a song that he and I did together. I'll play a little bit of it here. I'll play a little bit of it. And mind you, it was kind of an ad, whatever. I'm just going to play a little bit of it. And that's him scratching. You have no idea how much it felt good to have a person on the song for a brother. So let's take a break. And let's just hear this song for a few minutes. I'm going to put their picture back up so you can see them. And then, we'll resume in a few minutes here.
Saturday night. Saturday night. It's Saturday night. Saturday night at 608 Live. DJ No. DJ Ultimate Team Hangout. DJ No. Ultimate Team Hangout.
Let me put this on
on the record. I've been blessed with 2 kids and a marriage where we're finally acting like we're an old couple. I said it plenty of times, my infidelity may influence me. Many of rhymes, no longer feeling guilty. She forgave cause she is so full of grace. Now it's time to take our place in the King's vision. Marriage ministry, the 2x2, turn our swords against the...
Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Doggone it. Here I am trying to... I didn't mean to do that. Let me play. I gotta play the song. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I didn't mean
Saturday night. Saturday night. It's Saturday night. Saturday night at 608 Live. DJ Low, Ultimate Team Hangout. DJ Low, Ultimate Team Hangout.
Let me put this on the record. I've been blessed with 2 kids and a marriage where we're finally acting like we're an old couple. I said it plenty of times, my infidelity may influence me. Many of rhymes, no longer feeling guilty. She forgave cause she is so full of grace. Now it's time to take our place in the King's vision. Marriage ministry, the 2x2, turn our swords against the enemy. Not trying to see each other's blood spill. Love's real and the kids don't need weed at each other's esophagus. I can breathe out and just sigh. She's the one that gets the pap smear. Ultrasound, prophetic dreams. Then I crank the sound in my headphones. Not cause I'm disconnected, just preserving God's investment and protected myself from an arrest record. Nobody benefits if violent anger master me. I'd rather master these. What I mix is only acid. Please support this ministry as I support your need for kingdom lyricism over beats, carefully curated and created for the body who was hated by the serpent. So I work this knowing the cause to the fire. That just because we preach, some will be lost to the fire. But if you're in my reach, you will be taught how to fight. It may be sick as one, depending on your season and condition of your prayer life.
DJ Low, Ultimate Teen Hangout. Ultimate Teen Hangout. Ultimate Teen Hangout. DJ Low at 608 Live.
I've been thinking about my legacy since I was 19. Apostolic lyricism, it is not a pipe dream. Pops thought about his future when his past called up, brought up stuff that he can't take and he can't break down. Into teary-eyed tirades, I raise my Gatorade bottle to my pops. He's my roadmap in my life marathon. So I'm thinking about my daughter and my son, how to make sure that they vote for everything they got in vision, that they would be guided wisely. Everyone decision, even if she's gotta be like Gideon or the other one named Simeon. If she's got the passion like a mom, they gon' leave a ton of information. You can win one, learn how to use the big guns. Your parent left you, even if the money's gone due to taxes or sin-natured backstabbment. I tried to shepherd out lives within the madness. Just had to close up my eyes and feel the sadness, and imagine that there'd be a day you'd feel the gladness of building your own like Solomon did this. His pops gave up the notes and then he found it.
Ultimate Teen Hangout. DJ Low at 608 Live. Ultimate Teen Hangout. DJ Low. Ultimate Teen Hangout. DJ Low at 608 Live. Ultimate Teen Hangout. DJ Low at 608 Live. Teen Hangout. Hang out. Hang out. Hang out. Hang out. Hang out. 608 Live. 608 Live. 608 Live. 608 Live. 608 Live. Ultimate Teen Hangout. Hang out. Hang out. Hang out.
There we go. So yeah, man. So it's nice, and so his focus is setting up. He's really trying to bless the Sparta community, and our partnership for this year, I think, is gonna go pretty well. I'm looking forward to it. So far, the reaction that I'm getting from the people that I'm sharing this flyer here, this is a preliminary flyer that sort of is a warning order It is a way for people to know that this is kind of what we're gonna do in Sparta. This is what I'm bringing to the table, and 608 Live is allowing me the opportunity to bring some of these different concepts to my little 2 hours on Friday nights. Now, so as I've passed out the flyer, I will send this flyer not just to people locally. I'm sending it to many of you in my Facebook family here, so that you are aware of what I'm doing. Because the way that I see this is that my my Facebook live show is one element, and it's nice to have social media to kind of get the word out. I'm grateful that social media has made it easy, but you still have to have a ground game. One thing that a pastor is able to do, and a business owner is able to do, because they're on the ground with that community, that's how you can touch them. That's one of the things that I've had to really develop my online game. So I feel that my online game is pretty good. Pastor Eldridge, he has a really good ground game. In other words, the people that rely on him, they rely on him. Pastor Brian, very good ground game. People that rely on them, they know how to reach them. They know where to go. And sometimes when you have a good ground game, your online game suffers because you're focusing on the people, and that's what you're supposed to. A pastor is supposed to be able to do that. A while ago, when I was interacting and hanging out with a lot of pastors, something started to develop. This concept started to develop in my mind: the pastor and the rapper. I'm gonna minimize this for a second, and I want to talk a little bit about. I'm just gonna only do this just for a second. Oh no! I got it on. I got it. What is this? Let me see. I have it up right here. I have it up. Yeah, I have it up right here. Okay, so here's what I want to show you. Come on now, scroll down. One of the albums that I have is with Terrence Frederick, and I have a bunch of his sermons and a bunch of my songs. Apostle Terrence Frederick, 10 sermons, and rapper Matt Ellipsis with 10 songs. Okay, this is the one I wanted to specifically talk about. Let me see here. Okay, so this particular album, it is available on CD Baby. Okay, you can listen to it right on m3dots.com. Right, but we made it financially effective for $10. Okay, you can purchase it, and what you'll have is you will have 10 amazing sermons from Pastor Weeks, and 10 songs from me that I feel fit with those particular sermons, right? And so I came with this concept back in 2018 called The Pastor and the Rapper. And by uniting pastors and rappers together, we can have a beneficial relationship that is able to really benefit the people that we serve. Because sizzle and steak. when you if I love to eat steak, and so sometimes it's really interesting to hear the sizzle of your steak when it's on the way, and I feel that that's what I am. I'm a sizzler. I'm a person that can that hopefully I can energize a room of people or a group of people, and stuff like that. And I'm trying to do that on a larger scale as if at all possible. But I'm not there to really preach to anybody. I don't feel that I'm a preacher. And if I was, I definitely would not be one that certain or entities or organizations would want to ordain. No one in my entire life has ever come to me and said, Matt, I want to ordain you as a minister. And it's probably a good thing. Okay. First of all, I don't feel any pressure to not say certain things. I remember watching a movie. I don't know if it was Carlton Pierce or whatever, but I remember watching a movie about, when this particular preacher started to have a difference in his presentation of gospel information from the entity that licensed him to, present information about the gospel, and that caused the split, and then and that's a big deal, and I don't want any of that in my life. My website, I paid for it, and it's paid up. There's nobody that can come and say you need to take that down or whatever, because that is paid up, and my music is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so no one has taken that leadership role over me to shape my music or shape blah blah blah, and I'm grateful to God, that no one has done that, because I've always felt free expression lyrically. I may not have felt free like working within a church to do whatever I wanted to do. I never felt that, what I'm saying, to do whatever I wanted to do. Some people work the church politics and they can do whatever they want to do. And I remember knowing about a buddy of mine. I wouldn't say buddy of mine. I knowing about somebody who at the time was a buddy, that, he was, doing some stuff in the physical building, doing some stuff. And it's like, sometimes you can feel so comfortable in the entity, in the organization, that you can break some rules and it's okay to do. I've never felt that I could, whatever, what I'm saying? Whatever. But in my music, in my own studio, hey, I can do whatever I want to do, what I'm saying? Because it's, it's my home stuff or whatever. And plus, I'm not gonna be there long enough. Any dog away. Anyway, sorry. So, but Pastor Michael Weeks, I just talked with him today, and I'm so grateful because I felt led. He and I worked at 400 Liquor together. So this particular project is it's some of the fruit from my time at 400 Liggett. And so I got 2 years worth of his sermons. You guys are going to be blessed by that stuff. So this is not a full year of sermons right here. This is just some of it. But I wanted you to see it, and I would love for you to purchase it, because these sermons, you're going to like them. Now, you don't know Michael Weeks. Some of you in my family here, you don't know Michael Weeks. But my hope is that over time, as I introduce you to him, as you get to learn about him, right now I'm introduced. So take a listen so you can hear some of the messages. And the reason why it would be nice to be able to purchase it as opposed to just listen to it or whatever is because there's something about having it and playing it whenever you need it. It's something about it. You got your iTunes library, and you could play whatever song you feel like. And sometimes you need some sermons in your life. You just need them, okay? You just need some sermons in your life. And I'm a person that feels that you shouldn't only, and matter of fact, of necessity, I've had to have bunches of different churches. And so I've listened to sermons from a lot of places. And I can appreciate, because when you listen to sermons from a lot of different places, it helps you, it gives you different perspective. Not that everybody's right in every scenario, but you got to understand, you got different people that respond to different things. So I'm grateful to God that he set me up with Pastor Michael Weeks, so the pastor and the rapper. So right now I've got 2 Pastor and the Rapper albums on my website, and this is one of them. Please take a look at this. If you go to m3dots.com and you just scroll down, you'll get a chance to see it here. You look at it, and you can listen to some of the sermons. Matter of fact, if you don't feel like buying it, just listen to some of the sermons. It's there. It's not going anywhere. Listen to some of the sermons and you'll understand, kind of what's behind some of my relationships. I've got some really, really good relationships with some really good people, and he's one of them. And I'm looking forward to you being blessed by Pastor Michael Weeks. Okay, so now let me see, what was the reason why I brought him up? I brought him up. Let me see here. Hold on, I brought Pastor Weeks up. I brought up Pastor Weeks. What did I bring him up for? Doggone it. I think what I was trying to say is that just because I send this stuff to you so that you're aware of what I got going on. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot. When you have a bunch of people that you're interacting with, there's a lot of things. And so obviously you got to have your focuses or whatever. But if I sent you this, it's so that you are aware that I have some stuff going on, and we can talk about some of the results. Because these things are things that I don't want to say that I feel the church is missing. This list, variety night, comedy night, open mics, farmer night, tattoo night. I got to put on here bikers night. These different groups, these different populations, these are not populations that, if a bunch of people came into a given church and say, hey, you know what, we're going to start, paying tithes, and we're going to start whatever, then a particular pastor or a group of people who have a board or whatever, they will be like, hey, wow, we got some people. Wow, where did people come from? Okay, yeah. They're paying, parishioners or whatever. But I've grown to not feel comfortable sitting in the 4 walls of a church for an extended period of time anymore. I just don't, I don't feel comfortable, being sitting in church, knowing that I have a bunch of stuff to knowing that there's work to do over here. I don't feel like sitting here, and it's no slap on any pastor or anybody specifically at all. It just worked out like that. It just worked out like that. And over time, I've had to accept my level of discomfort in church, and I had to understand, okay, then why am I here? If I'm going to be here, why am I here? And it's to help them, but not just one. I'm supposed to help a bunch of us churches. And if that is weird to you, I'm sorry. If you think about Sam's Club, there are businesses that rely on Sam's Club. Multiple different businesses rely on Sam's Club. Sam's Club could not just focus on one business and that be it. I feel that I'm a provider of something to different people. And so if you're a pastor, one of the things that I can offer you is I can offer you a place to put your sermons that I can point people to your sermons and make it so that it's easy to listen to. You know, this particular pastor, he and I talked about making this joint project so that when you download it, you're getting, listen, for $10, you're getting 10 sermons and 10 songs. A lot of music artists, they sell their doggone, just their little stinking little 10 songs for whatever. And a lot of pastors, they sell their doggone, 1 hour, 2 hour sermon for like $10, $15. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting 10 of those sermons, 56 minutes, 57 minutes, 65 minutes, 54 minutes. You're getting 10 sermons. And listen, Pastor Michael Weeks has a delivery that's unbelievable. His delivery of the word is just, I've never heard anybody speak like him. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. And so I needed to make sure that he and I were friends, because I wanted to bring what he had to say to other people. And because he and I knew that his sermons were not just for his local congregation, as he organized his content and he presented to his people, he kept the audio and then made it so that he was talking to the people in front of him physically, and the people that he would be in front of virtually, by this. You know what I'm saying? So it's some good content, and I know that you'll be blessed by it. Okay? So all right, so let me get back to that. So anyway, if you receive this flyer, it's like I want you to know what I'm doing so that you can understand that I'm designed to go out and interact with groups of people that church people don't automatically always go interact with. Pastor Eldridge Ford, he has labeled me an inner city missionary. If you go to YouTube and you type in Matt Ellipsis and Eldridge Ford, okay, type that into YouTube, and then what'll come up is some of the audio conversations that he and I had, and in there you'll hear him talk a little bit about how he sees me and what I'm supposed to do, and we kind of talked about that pastor rapper concept is kind of right in there or whatever. And the pastor kind of helps add definition to the rapper. Now listen, here's the deal. I am a student of that whole Apostle John Eckhart. No, not just him, but a lot of people where they talk about the apostle and the prophet, and people, they're educating their congregation about the different fivefold ministry graces, and then I'm also a student of there are no all of these different concepts of church saying that this is the way it is. And so I've got a night called Belief System Night. And it would be interesting that in a couple of hours, a few people, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get some people who can speak with some authority on some of these issues. But there's Catholics around here. There are Christians around here. There are some Lutherans around here. There are different type of faith people, and there are people who, don't like church at all. And I would like, and all these people, it would be nice to come together. And if they want some beer, they can have some or whatever. And we I'm gonna, my hope, is I'm gonna have some jokes or whatever, or though. Belief system night doesn't have to be just us sitting around talking, but belief system night, we can have whatever's going on that night. How each night is going to have its own uniqueness, because when sometimes you got to set the environment for what you're going to do. If you're going to have a roast, the roast of Reggie Robinson, which I can't wait to do this. Okay. Reggie Robinson is a friend of mine from my job, and works with Angelo, and he's retiring, and I can't wait to bring his friends together and help them write some jokes, and we do his roast. But to prepare for a roast on one night is totally different than preparing for a battle of the bands. And that's totally different from preparing for a night where I have people with different belief systems where they're prepared to come and talk. And listen, you are welcome to come sit in and just enjoy. You see what I'm saying? That's what my goal is. My goal is you don't have to, this is not, you got to talk or whatever. This, but this is you come in and I'm going to have some prepared material to talk about some stuff, prepare, some jokes or some music or, some other people who are going to be doing some stuff, performing or whatever, but all of this is designed to prepare an environment so that something comes out of it. Because I know I've been doing church services for the longest time. So I know what church service stuff, and then military, I know how to do military training sessions and all that other stuff. So I know how when sometimes you put everybody together, you have a loose agenda of what needs to be done or what you're going to do. And then you start enjoying each other's presence. And whoever is in the room, my goal is to make it so that this night, each of these events, that you enjoy it and that you get something out of it so that you walk away and you feel like, we had a good time. Just like you've watched a good movie, or you went to go eat a great meal, or you went to a fantastic party. You know what I'm saying? So these nights, they're unique. No, I don't know anybody who's done these specific things. I have seen these things done in a lot of contexts. So I'm not creating something new. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats, my son was in a parade, and so my wife and I and my daughter, we were sitting on the side, and I've never in my life sat at a parade. I didn't even watch the Bud Billiken parade as much, but my wife. Okay, we're in Toma. All right, I gotta tell a little bit of this. Okay, so we're in Toma, and my wife. Okay, my son's gonna be in the parade because he was in a play. And the play, to help advertise for the play, they've got a float. They've got a float in the parade. So now, so in the float with the parade. So my wife, she mentions that we're gonna go to the parade, and okay, and then. I don't remember all the details of what she said, but she brings up the Bud Billiken parade. And the only time that I've ever watched the Bud Billiken parade has been with my wife. So I've never really enjoyed the parade, but I'm going to tell you something. Watching the Bud Billiken parade, my memory of watching the Bud Billiken parade with my wife made me enjoy the parades. Okay, the Bud Billiken parade. And that is, when my wife thinks of a parade, that is the standard. Okay, the Bud Billiken parade, that is the standard for what my wife feels is a parade. So we're out here in Toma, and this is not to bash Toma, and your 4th of July parade. This is not to bash that. This is because I don't know if my wife has been on the ground at the Republican parade, because it's so, in Chicago, the Republican parade is so massive that you got to just watch it on TV, man. You just got to watch it on TV. It's so much better to just watch it on TV and then, go through the commercials or whatever. Okay. Anyway, I just needed to say that. Anyway, but while I'm sitting at the parade, two things I know. Well, there's a bunch of stuff I know, but there was two things that I noticed. Okay. One of them is one of my coworkers was in the parade, and he and I have a weird relationship. Okay. And, so we have to interact with each other every day. It's weird. So part of me doesn't like him at all. But part of me does like him. Okay? And depending on the day, depending on the situation, sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't like him. And because I've been married for 14 years to my wife, I now understand how to be with somebody, to work with somebody, and even if you're not getting along, you still gotta work together so you get along. Being in the military, I've learned how to even if you don't like the person and you don't get along, because you gotta work together, you get along. Like I understand it from the marriage perspective and from the military work perspective. From the church perspective, it's a little bit different, because as much as church people, as much as we want to be able to forgive and stuff like that, church people, we know how to shame each other, and we know how to do it very, very well. We know how to shame each other. We know how to shame each other. Anyway, so and my goal is never to shame anybody or whatever, if at all possible, if I can help it, or embarrass anybody at all. As I'm reflecting, I'm trying to be very, very. It took me years to get to this point to be able to do a live show. I'm pre-taping it because just in case I feel something goes over, I want to be able to, not put it out or edit it so that it, it doesn't have the, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to do anything messed up to anybody, but my stories are my stories, and they are, as to the best of my ability, they are what happened. So I see this guy, and so he throws some candy, and because that's the parade in Toma is, you drive past and you throw some candy towards the kids. That's part of what the parade is. Okay. So I noticed him. The other thing that I noticed was the Republican float and the Democrat float. And Toma, I voted in Chicago, and I loved voting in Chicago. I loved it. I knew who my alderman was, and I loved it. And I wanted to be a person that interacted with my government. I wanted to. but it wasn't as practical because I was traveling. So the way I interacted with them was by absentee ballot. And when things would be on the ballot, I wouldn't know what the heck, and who these people are. So I'll just and slide it in, and put it, back and mail it back or whatever. But in Toma, I voted in the last election, and to see the ballot, there's a lot of stuff on there that there was only one other name there was two. No, on the ballot for the Toma, I knew president and, the presidential part. And then there was a local person that I know who was running. And so, I gave him my vote. So that was the second. So I knew more than just the top person or whatever. So, and I know the senator. So, that was, whatever. And so, I know of the senator, not know him, but I know of the senator. So then, so I was able to put a vote for somebody that, and I remember seeing that person. Later on, and he didn't win. But he got choked up because he got like 1,000 votes or whatever the amount of votes that he got. You know what I'm saying? He said, I didn't win, but I got. So he you know what I'm saying? It's personal to him. He was, it's like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So I got a chance to see politics at the local level, and it's exhilarating because I've been a follower of politics, from listening to talk radio for years. So I understand national politics, but local politics, I ain't been local. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I go somewhere, I'm leaving, so I'm not invested in the local community as much as the people who live there are. So now I'm been a part of the Toma community, and my vote is going to make a difference on some stuff. So I voted and, blah, or whatever. So that felt a little bit better, but I didn't know a lot of other stuff. There was three names. So I knew the president, the Senate choice probably, and then that one that I just mentioned that, I think it was for councilman or alderman or something like that. And then there was another one for a judge, and I understood those. I knew who those were, sort of, you know what I'm saying? And so I felt informed enough to cast my vote and stuff like that. But I want to know more. I want to know up and down. And so I noticed the float, the Democrats and the Republican float, they had their little floats, which means that I can walk up to some Democrats and go to their headquarters location, and then go and I can hang out with them and do what Democrats do. So I can hang out with them just like I can go to church and I can go do what church people do. I can go to the bar and do what bar people do. I can go to the restaurant and do what the customers in the restaurant do. I can go to the Republican place and I can go do what I don't know what they do. I go to the VFW and I can do what they do at the place. Like everybody got their little things going on, which I'm happy about. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can go and be a part of those different communities or whatever. Those people will never, if I go to the VFW in Sparta, those people are not coming with me down to CCI. Chicago Heights. They're not coming down there with me. It's just, if I would be shocked if I could get somebody to drive 6 hours to go with me to go to church and then drive back. I would be surprised. You know what I'm saying? And so so I'm not even trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? Politics is local. And I've learned that my show needs to be local. So my goal is, as I interact with all those different groups, I can take what they already do where they're at and just say, hey, come to 608 Live and give us a taste of what you do. You know what I'm saying? Republican night, I want you to come. Let's talk about Republican stuff. And with a group of people who are not, I'm going to assemble people who probably will never come to your specific location. But you know, you'll be here for. And I'm developing friendships, because when we're friends, then you'll talk to me like a friend. And, you know, because political differences make you look at another person not as a person, but as a competitor, or as it objectifies them in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't have a problem with people on two different sides of whatever issues there are. I have no problem with that. But one of the things that throughout my life, I've decided this, and I've done this in my family, and I've tried to do this wherever I could be. I'm not taking sides just yet. Or no, that's not exactly how I wanted to say that. I'm sorry. Let me say it the way I want to say it. I'm your friend even though we have differences of opinion. Okay? One of the that's what I believe in my heart. Now, the practical reality of it is that, you know, sometimes when you find out how somebody voted, if you find out, you know, some of the people's association, some of the things that they put on Facebook, whatever, it can divide some people, and it makes you want to, you know, it makes you question the friendship. I had that today. There was the couple of rappers that, you know, we ain't talked. I'll leave messages or whatever. And so I, you know, finally I'm like, look, I'm like, hey, are we still friends or not? Are we, you know, what's the status of our relationship? And it felt so good to talk to these brothers and realize that we are still good and we are still in relationship, because you know, the relationships, they produce fruit, and my goal is to take that fruit, the fruit of our relationships, and put them on m3dots.com and put them on YouTube and put them where they need to be, because that fruit is really the purpose of the friendship. If, you know, my son, bless his heart, and I don't know, I think I might have recorded him saying this. He asked me, you know, what's the meaning of life? And I'm so grateful that I got a son that, you know, we've been, you know, he's in my life and I'm in his life, you know, and you know, I may not do everything, you know, the way that other fathers may do, because I didn't really play catch with my son much until like earlier this year, maybe late last year, definitely this year. But, you know, I wasn't a play catch kind of, you know, and then when I throw the ball to him, you know, he couldn't catch it sometimes, and it's just like, yeah. But he, I'm trying to be better in that respect. But with my son, we play chess together. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. That's what we, you know. He's got his little computer right there, and I got my sit over here. And so, you know, he's playing his little stuff. So I'm knowing what he's doing over there, and I'm seeing how his mind is working as he's working. And creating stuff and, learning how to do this and stuff like that. And I'm watching him and stuff. So I'm seeing how his mind is developing over there and all of that. And it's thrilling to me to watch the process. And so he asked me, what's the meaning of life? And I told him, I said, son, by the time I was 21 years old, I knew why I was born and what I was supposed to do with my life. And my hope is that by the time you are in your teenage years, you know that information about yourself. That's the meaning of life. To understand why you're here and what you're supposed to do with your life. Because I feel confident in who I am and what I'm supposed to do with my life. Because of that, whenever I get into a relationship with somebody, I can know the purpose of it. Right? I can figure out what's the purpose. What's the purpose of a smartphone? What's the purpose of the box cutter? What's the purpose of the pen? So whenever I get in relationship with these items, I know what I'm about to do with it. I found out the purpose of a pen cap. The purpose of a pen cap is to get the earwax out of your ears. So now when I see a pen cap, I'm like, oh, give me that pen cap. Okay, anyway, so when I saw the Republicans and Democrats or whatever in the float, I knew that because they're local, I can go over and I can interact with them. And because we're going into an election year, I didn't put this on the flyer, but my hope is that I can take the Democrats night and Republican nights, which will be two separate nights. My hope is that I can take the friends that I gain from that from those couple of meetings or those couple of gatherings, that I can take them and that I can that it will result in some of the local elections, if they need to do a debate, that they can do the debate on the Matt Ellipsis Show. Maybe not at one of the Friday night events, but maybe at maybe on a different day, a special day or whatever. Because I would love to ask questions, because when people are on both sides, sometimes what I like to do is I like to set people up so that they can get out the information that they need to get out. Because sometimes you need somebody to ask you the questions that is going to help bring out I don't want to say bring out your talking points, but bring out what's behind the talking points. You know what I'm saying? I remember that when I did my second album, I have a song on there called My Choice. And it's a song that is about abortion. And it's a song that it's from I wrote the song from the perspective of a child, an unborn child, speaking to his mother and father. That's what the song is. It's a weird song. Okay. And I wonder, let me see if I can play it. Might as well take a quick break and play that song. Let me just see, because or maybe I won't play it and I'll just make my point. But let me just see if it's up here on let's see. Let's see. The My Choice. All right, let's see. Matt Ellipsis, My Choice. Let's see what happens. Yes, so if you type in Matt Ellipsis, My Choice into YouTube, you're going to get because there's two versions that are out there. This version, I have to find this at Visual Hype Media. Hold on, I'm gonna find it because I didn't produce this video. This person at Visual Hype Media, they found that song and they made a video of it. And one day I found, I'm like, oh my God, look at this. Wow. So I'm going to play this because I was fascinated by it. And then I'm going to see if I can find them so I can connect with them on somehow. Visual Hype Media. All right, check this out.
How old would I have been? What would have been my name? What did I do wrong? Why was I slain? What is this place? The fire is so hot, burns through my soul. It won't seem to stop. I wish I could speak to my mommy and dad so I could know who they was, because I'm angry and mad. I was destined for greatness, to bring change to some lives, but now it won't happen because I've been sacrificed. I wish that they knew the pain that I'm in as a result of them not wanting to deal with their sin. I wish they could feel the anguish I'm acquainted with. Not only did they kill me, they handed me to Satan. Now they live on, haunted by the memory of that day that won't even leave my mark on history. They'll never see my legacy or comprehend my purpose. I wish that I could speak to them, although they don't deserve it. To my dad, real men don't kill their kids. They raise them up with the correct mentality of how they're supposed to live. If you do not have the time to be a father and a real man, you need to keep your little Roscoe in your pants. You play the music, then you dance. You get the girl, then you romance, and then it gets real. What, you kill kids for a living? You didn't have to take her to the clinic. Could have changed her mind. She wanted you to be right by our side, but your heart was filled with hate for me and for her. So this life you had to take from me and from her. So to this day, you think you're free, but that's absurd, because you're feeling every single word deep in your heart. One day you will regret that you made the choice. Forever you will hear my voice in your spirit. To my mom, hear your baby suffer in this bed of wrath. The torture is unbearable. I wish that you could grasp the value of your womb. That's where my life began, ending in eternal doom, because you had no room in your life for me. You never see me smile when you tickle me. You never get joy when you kiss on me. You never get to hold me in your arms and experience my life. My memories are as sharp as a knife in your belly. You could have seen me as a blessing, not a curse. Instead, I was an inconvenience to make your life worse. But you can't get worse than where I'm at now. I wish that we could trade places just for a day so you can feel me. A real mother would give her life to save a child, but not you. You'd rather kill me than cramp your style. Although I'm mad, I yearn for a chance to hear you say I love you. I'd hug you, then we'd forget about the past. But they'll never hear my voice. They're the ones that must live with this choice that they made.
Is that your voice calling me? Is my choice? How can I say I'm sorry? I regret that I caused you to die. So I regret. I wish I had one more chance to give you life. Oh, it would be so different. I regret that I caused you to die. I regret. Oh, I regret. Oh, I regret. I repent.
fascinating. Fascinating. And I just figured out who the person was or whatever just now. So that's kind of interesting to me. Anyway, the reason why I played that is because, okay, so that song is about abortion, and you know, where did I stand on that issue? Obviously, I stood on the issue. I stood on it as a person that said that abortion was wrong. I went even far in my belief system about abortion, that I studied this particular thing. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but I studied that, you know, there was the god of Molech, and he would require babies would be sacrificed to him. So I started to look at abortion. This is in my 20s. I looked at abortion as child sacrifice, right? And good or bad, that's the way I looked at it. And then a person close to me let me know that they had an abortion. And my mind changed, because that person was somebody that I loved and loved me. And it caused me to question what I believed, because it feels weird. It felt kind of weird to think that, okay, well, you know, that's what, to be removed from a person, you just did this too, child sacrifice. Blah. But, oh my God, I can't say nothing like that. I can't do that. And so I started to develop at that point in my life a way to be around people that have different opinions and still be friendly, because either we got to work together or I'm interested in learning more about whatever it is. And so the reason that I'm mentioning that is because over time, my mind has changed on a lot of things. And it's not that I believe the Bible's wrong in terms of some of the things that I believed, but I believe that maybe some of the things that we as Christians, the way that we implement, you know what? I'm going to say that some of the ways that I feel that I believed that I was wrong for allowing myself to be heartless with some of my beliefs. That's for me. I'm not gonna say that that's everybody. I'm gonna say that that's me. That's how I was, and I think that I still am in some areas that I'm heartless. And that's why I need to expose myself to some of these communities, some of these people that are different from me, because when you get to know a person or get to know a group of people, like people that work over here as a group, people who go to this particular bar, that's a group. When you get to know these groups of people, then first of all, you find out the similarities and you find out some of the differences. So that's the first thing. You obviously you come up on the similarities and the differences. But then beyond that, you learn the significance of those differences and the significance of those similarities, right? And then beyond that, especially if you know your purpose, you know why you're in that area, why you're with those people, then you know how to turn every situation, if at all possible, into something productive. And that's what I like. I like to have productive friendships, or if I'm not going to have a friendship, a productive relationship that even if it's, messed up, it's still productive because you get something out of it. Something can be good that's made out of the situation. So that's kind of why I want to have some of these nights. So back to this guy. So like I said, two things came out of watching the float, watching the parade. One of them is I see this guy from work that I, kind of got a weird relationship with. And then I determined that I'm going to interact with some of these Democrats and Republicans before the election so that I can sort of get some content out there that sort of is a civics lesson about, what certain things is. Now, I know that anybody can just look up what a Democrat is, what a Republican is, but it's different when it's such and such is, somebody that I know is talking here and another person that I know is talking there, and both of them are talking about what something is, and then I can get behind the talking points, behind the beliefs. It's like, why do we believe that? Why do we believe that such and such is this? And then figure it out. Because here's the thing. One of the things that I found fascinating was that, where is it at? You know what? I might as well bring it up. Hold on. Let me see. Where is it at? Let me see here. I found a website. Doggone it. I'm going to find it. I can't wait to find this, man. I can't wait to re-find this. I found this years ago. Most fascinating thing. Okay. I found a website that had all of the political platforms every 4 years from the time that they, installed the first president. So I got a chance to click through and read the party platform of every single, Republican Party platform, Democrat Party. I think it was the Whig Party. Also, each party platform, what they believed, and a political platform, is similar to in the church. We call it a statement of our beliefs. This is what we believe, and then you kind of rattle it down of all the things that you generally believe, and kind of the basis for which all these other things that you're currently doing, where they come from. In the military, we call it a creed. You got the officer's creed, you got the NCO creed, you've got the soldier's creed, stuff like that, right? So those creeds, sort of, it's a statement, and all the words in the statement are carefully crafted to help a person get down in their heart. This is how I function. This is my basis, or whatever. And so I got a chance to look at all the party platforms. And one of the ones I found very, very interesting is that I clicked on one. I can't remember which year, and that's why I got to find the website because it's been a long time since I looked that up. But one of them said, very simply, it was a very small platform. It wasn't even more than like 2 or 3 paragraphs. But it was like, we believe in slavery. And I was like, wow. And because I know, and now they are very long. You know what I'm saying? And, whatever. They're very long. So it's a lot to go through. It's a lot to read through. But once you look at them, then you really kind of know the difference. Some of them, the flowery language, they can sound similar because it's kind of political jargon or whatever. But you really understand the difference based on that publication of their platform. But it's interesting to think about what kind of debate was it where that particular election year, we believe in slavery. That's what we believe. And that's pretty much it. What kind of climate was it for that to be one of the statements, for that to be the party platform? Wow. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I like that. That's part of the reason why I do the Matt Ellipsis Show, is because in this coming election, I want to delve into some of those topics, but the way that I handle them would be probably different than the way that, some of the others handle them, because I want to hear it out. I don't want to cut them off per se. I want to hear people out, you know what I'm saying, as much as I can, because, I don't have a time limit, in terms of my show, in terms of the recording, and when you're with people, there's going to be a time limit. But if I set up a freaking 8-hour show and people sign up and say, hey, I'm gonna sign up, I want to be here for 8 hours or whatever, doggone it, why would we rush? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so now, this person, so I finished the part about the Republican Dem part. So this guy that, whatever. So this flyer, I got a team now that's helping me work on my my live shows, and so give them access to the Facebook, whatever. And because when I go to work, I want my Facebook page, I want it to work for me with the live stream. And then all I have to do is when I take a break, I can monitor. You know what I'm saying? But it's working. And then if I got team members who are, if they're not at work and they want to, if they're engaging and helping me out with this stuff, then, they can be doing something while I'm at work. And then when I'm off work, then I can, resume. So that way this information gets out there. So there are different friends that I sent this preliminary flyer to so that we could talk about it and whatever, because, the digital game, you put it in their digital whatever space, email or whatever, but then you got to have the ground game. So I go and talk to, the, whoever, and then we kind of talk about it or whatever. And if I've sent it to you, then it's because I'm, either looking forward to a conversation about it or we've had a conversation about it and I'm just keeping you abreast of it or whatever. So anyway, so the guy, he got one of these and he comes up to me and says, what is this you're sending me? I said, I sent you information because, you're my friend and I want to invite you to one of my events so that, we can take our friendship, outside of the workplace into, seeing each other in another context. I already, I was at the parade and, I got a chance to see you outside of work, and that, as much as I didn't say all of this, kind of in a certain way, because we've had other conversations. So I'm pulling all of our conversations. I'm kind of putting it all into this so you can kind of follow along with the story. You know, I've seen you in another context, and as much as I feel that, you know, you are a, you know, you're somebody that I don't particularly enjoy as a person. When I saw you in that light, I began to realize that, oh my God, you're not as bad as I perceived that you were. So, you know, so I sent you a friend request. I sent him a friend request, and then he accepted my friendship. And, you know, prior to this situation, you know, he gets that, and we kind of talked about the friendship. And I said, you know, thank you. Thank you for accepting my friendship. Said, you know, whatever. And so then, you know, so we're friends on Facebook, and I care about all my Facebook friends. So I'm trying to, outside of work, let's, you know, do something. I got something going on, and, you know, let's do something. Let's come to one of the events or whatever. And he said, I don't like getting stuff from anybody. I said, well, you know, you could delete the flyer, and you know, you could delete my friendship too if it bothers you so much. And you know, so we exchanged a couple more words, and then he ended up deleting my Facebook. And one of the things that I was so happy about, was that this was the first person in all my Facebook friends that I got right now. This is the first person that I know they deleted me. We accepted friendship, and I've heard so many people talk about, you know, wiping the page. Like, there's a whole bunch of Facebook stories that I've heard, and I've never really had any of those because I had not really keyed into my Facebook friends as people that I care about until just recently. That, oh my God, that's a constant. You know what I'm saying? I've had my Facebook page since however, you know, whatever, I've had it. And it's just like my home address in Chicago, just like my church, you know, home in TCI or whatever. It's like, oh my God, these people, they're always there. You know what I'm saying? We're connected. It's like, oh, I'm going to hold on to these. I'm going to hold on to them, and I'm going to care about these people, and I'm going to start to care, you know? And so I started looking through, you know, when people put their pictures up, I started to look at them and say, okay, you know, wow, they by them accepting my friendship, they are letting me see into their world. They're sharing their pictures with me. I'm like, oh my God, okay, wow. So, you know, you had a baby, or you went to go get something to eat, and you know, and you know, so okay, so you put those pictures because you want for me to see those pictures, right? And one of the things that I started doing is I noticed that I had Facebook friends that were they had like sexy pictures or whatever of themselves, and then, you know, as I would look further deeper, it would be a link to something that says, you know, to my Tumblr nude pictures or whatever. So I've been going through my Facebook, and I've been blocking those people, because my pool of people, let me see, right now, oh, I'm not finna, okay, whatever, you know, and you on Facebook, not only can you see all of my friends, but I can see all of your friends and see how many you got. And it's not a competition. I'm not in competition with nobody at all to try to get more friends. I'm not, because some people can't handle the friends that they got. You know what I'm saying? And I understand the difference between acquaintances and business partners or whatever, but Facebook friendship, I'm not disillusioned to think of it as like, these are my friends and they care about me and I can borrow money. And I don't look at it like that. I look at it like when I was at Fort Hunter Liggett, that, you know, I see these people on a regular basis, because I pass them at the gate. I go to the dining facility. I go to the local restaurant to get something to eat. I'm working with them, so I got to go to their work site. We got to work on stuff together. So it's a pool of people that we know each other and we know of each other, and so we're connected because at any time, if at any time something could happen, and we all could be somewhat affected by it because we're all in this community called Facebook friendship. And I'm grateful that anybody would say, Matt, I want to be your friend on Facebook. That's my Facebook page. It doesn't have sexual pictures of me. It doesn't have any of that stuff. I don't have when I think about Facebook, I look at it as this is my public persona. When I'm in my household, I can wear my pajamas. But Facebook is like you're putting on clothes. You're going out to go to the store. You're putting on clothes and you're going out to go towards work or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I'm used to that. I wear my military uniform. I wear my work outfit. And so you go and you interact with the people or whatever, and you put your best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? And if there is something that you need to vent about, like I follow this one particular person on Instagram, I believe, and he, let me tell everybody, and start snapping off on stuff, and he's snapping off about something that happened locally. He's snapping off about it nationally. You understand what I'm saying? So, I don't want to do that. Not that I won't watch and sympathize if somebody did that. You know what I'm saying? And so, anyway, he deleted me. He deleted our friendship, and he came back to work. He came over to me and told me that he deleted our friendship. And then, a little bit after that, we worked on something we had to work on together. And it's like, so what that means to me is that I don't have to care about him. Now I got friendships with other friends at work, and we interact, and and because I'm starting to enjoy. I've been a robot in terms of all of this stuff. I've not let myself be open. And my wife, she and I, we talked via text, and she let me know that she feels that I've interacted with Toma like arm's length, not and she's right about that. I have done that, and I'm ready now to no longer do that. I'm ready to embrace the different people that that want to embrace me out here. And the church lighthouse that my wife goes to, it appears that particular that many people from that church, that they are willing to embrace me, and I've been reluctant to embrace really anybody except for individuals, like not a whole bunch of people, because I was ready to move. I thought we were going to be leaving, but if I'm going to be here, then I need to the friendships, I'm going to be working that out. And so what I've been doing is, as I interact with people, if we become, if I try to, develop that Facebook friendship level, so that way now I know you, because it's a lot of people you just don't know their name, you don't know them or whatever. And, church, I'm so used to how we do it. We can be kind of surface friends, you know what I'm saying? And or whatever. And in this community, people know each other, but that's another weird thing, because when news travels fast, you know what I'm saying? And that's another part that I was nervous about. And so I want any news about me to be, positive news. This is news that I want out there. I want out there that I'm going to be doing every Friday. So I've been interacting with everybody to let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing, so that they're aware. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect everybody to show up to everything or even anything, but at least you're aware, because I'm a part of this community also. And I want to go and interact with these different groups of people so that we can get to know each other. And by the end of this year, hopefully by the 2nd of October 2020, I can step back, have a bunch of audio and a bunch of video footage that that some of that I will have put on my show or whatever, but I can walk away with groups of people that I know how to care for them and how they care for other people, and and I can make some decisions about what we're gonna do. Oh my God, I put 2019 to 2019. Man, I messed up. Ain't that a trip? I can't believe it. You see this? I just noticed this. 2019 to 2019. And I'm positive people people knew that. Doggone it. Anyway, but that's the rough draft anyway. So I need to put this on the website. Anyway, I've said a lot of stuff, and my hope is that you would. I wanted to thank somebody. I made a list of people that I wanted to thank. So let me let me see here. Okay. I want to do it justice. Doggone it. Okay, so one of my notes was I was a church/military robot. Church made me kind of surfacey. Military kind of made me had less feelings. I don't know if that's as accurate as I wanted to say, but it's kind of like, what is going on? Hold on. I'm about to say, man, I hope I was still recording. Oh, snaps. So, I don't blame the church and I don't blame the military for my weirdness, of my, for the way that I am. But I just, I'm looking forward to having the feelings that human beings have when they are dealing with other people and stuff like that. Of course I have them, but with these people in Toma and Sparta, I'm starting to interact with the community and stuff like that, and and civilians. Really, it's less about Toma, Sparta specifically, but it's civilians in general. Church people. I'm not saying that church people are not civilians, but I looked at church people differently because they're church people. You know what I'm saying? And then military people, But civilians who are not necessarily, fall in either of those categories, which is a lot of people, there's different groups of people that have different interests that I want to like enjoy with them. So anyway, that's really all that I wanted to talk about for tonight. I have to say that if you have listened to any of this for any amount of time, I'm very grateful that you did, listen. It's I can tell you one of the things came up just for fun radio. I might be able to get my show and do some nights or do a night a week on their on Just for Fun Radio. So that would be syndication of the Matt Ellipsis Show. So that's kind of exciting. I am the Toma VA. No, I am the Veterans Affairs rap champion. That's the name that I've called myself. I won it at the local level. There was a creative arts competition here at the Toma VA, and I won in the rap category. I only went in the rap category, and I won it by default. Nobody else. There's no other rappers in Toma that signed up, so I won it by default. But then at the national level, they they took my video of my song and they put it up against other rappers that won at their local level, and so they didn't win. I won it twice in a row. So for 2018 and 2019, I'm the VA rap champion, and I have to, it means something to the VA, the little group of recreational therapists or whatever. It means something to them. It kind of means something to me. So it doesn't mean anything to anybody else, and I can understand that. But I'm trying to make it mean something to. I'm trying to make it mean something. Do you know that guy is the VA rap champion? That's what I'm hoping. So one of these nights I might. I don't know. I'm not gonna get a belt or anything like that, but I got to do something to say, hey, this is what I've got. This is what I've done. Ooh. Let's see. Another thing that came up. I talked to Pastor Eldridge today, and he set it up, or we're in the process of setting up an event in Illinois. So I may be coming to Illinois in July. So we don't have the details yet, but if it works out, I'll be coming to Illinois in July. I'm going to put the tickets up there so that you can come. And my hope, if he hosts me on Saturday, then on Sunday I'm going to, come to church also with him. And try to have a really, really impactful weekend there. So get ready for 2 days down there in Evanston, Illinois. So that's my hope. Things are happening. Let's see, what else could I mention before I get out of here? Well, let me see here. I have to say that now that I'm about to end episode 3, I have to say that I'm enjoying this way that I'm doing it. I got the equipment. It just came today that will enable me to do live call-ins. So to be able to be streaming live and then have a computer that enables you to call in, and then I can add you and you could be part of the show. I don't think I'm ready to do that at this point. I really want to I want to get, my goal is to get through a lot of the stories that I've been wanting to share and put them in this particular context, get as much of those where they need to be, as well as make sure that I get my Facebook friends, several of them, you know, I want to make sure that some of their stuff material is ready to be mentioned and all of that. And so doing it like this is probably the most comfortable way for me. This old dude, my man Sebastian. Paula Speaks. She, bless her heart. Let me see here. Where we at? Let me find. There we go. Paula Speaks. I got a chance to listen to her show a while ago, and I think that she had a really, really good show. And she and I actually interacted, and I'm so grateful that one of these days soon she's going to come on the show and I'll be able to have an interview with her. And what's significant about her is as I listen to her show, she's definitely a minister. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she's definitely, you know, she's somebody that's interesting to listen to. What was interesting to me about the way that she was functioning, I could tell that if she had the finances to do things on a larger level than she was doing it, she'd be able to really bless a lot of people. And I'm hoping that as we talk, that, you know, I can let her know about what I'm doing. My little setup is not necessarily for everybody, but if there's something that I can do so that she can have an easier route and I can do some of the heavy lifting from the standpoint of what she wanted to have happen, that's what I'm hoping for, because she needs to be out there. Her voice, man, she needs to be speaking out there on a regular basis, man. She's really interesting to hear. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's coming up. That's a future thing. Let me see here. Is another thing that's coming up. So King David the Vessel and I, we talked today and over the past week or so, and of all the artists that I'm friends with or whatever, King David is probably one of those people that I feel has the most developed website information, presentation, I think I might as well. Let's play this. This is on his website. So if you go to yieldedmusic.com, this is the feature video. Let's check this out.
Lot of discussion as to whether God is enough, man, please. So much head nodding, I got a concussion. Cause all I do is agree with the truth, I've been free. Though I pursued other leagues, none else could do it for me. Once a convict, who get convinced? And now that I'm convicted, my content's contented. So satisfied, so glad I died. So sad that I took my time getting here. But you throw that aside, I'm grateful. And that's why this worship is personal. Don't have to be perfect to show your worth that I rehearse until my church is full. Fill my church, Lord, gracious and merciful. Some things I want bad, Dad, but the thing I want worse is you. Been thirsty, but I tasted, my thirst is through. When working now, cause all that I thirst for is you. Indeed, like the unhidden secrets that men keep. And you, I've been strong cause I've been weak. All I need is
LOVEPEACE in my life. It's your GRACE and your mercy that keeps VICTORY in my sight. No tricks, no gimmicks, no limits. I'm in this for
like
was out here, I was not living right. You saw me,
hey, I
was right at the edge and in
right
the nick of time. You called me,
hey,
not what I was or what I done, but who you saw, what I become. And now I know that I don't need anything else or anyone but you. He's all that I need. He's all that I need.
All I need is yo.
All that I need. All that I need.
Just you. Hey,
He's
tricks,
all
gimmicks,
that I need.
Let's go again. Yo, I've been ignorant, been indifferent, cause of the stuff I was getting in. You had to restore my innocence. Before, I didn't have peace or intimate dealings with. Now people get to sit and see your penmanship. I don't reach for a reward, not why I got in the trench. To seek your face more so I can treat your business with respect and excellence. Priority, wrote songs in the key of I. You said try lower key. Good right where you got me, I die before I leave. Need more of you, Lord, so I can't deny more of me. Can't wade in the shallow water and try going deep. I need to launch out into the deep, and it's sweet. We can replicate the presence of God's house with 2 or 3, but nobody else is around right now, just you and me. And I'm okay with that, cause it's me you want and it's you I need. And I'm okay with that. It's me you want and it's you I need. All I need is
LOVEPEACE in my life. It's your GRACE and your mercy that keeps VICTORY in my sight. No tricks, no limits, no limits. I'm in this for you.
Say it again, say all I need is
LOVEPEACE in my life. It's your GRACE and your mercy
It's alright, it's alright.
VICTORY in my sight. No tricks, no limits, no limits. I'm in this for you.
keep it going. All I need is come on, say all I need is nobody else, just you. No, I'm in it.
All I need is
you. Hey, come on.
You know what's nice? It's nice to it's nice to know some of the people that's in the video. Let me see if I can where we at. That's Regular, and I have an interview with him. If you go to YouTube and you put in Matt Ellipsis Regular, right? Bam. Boom. The Matt Ellipsis Show interview with Regular. And let me play just a little bit of that for a second here.
by mentions, none of that. It's how the Bible said. The Bible said, out there I help me, we're over them. You know, we're supposed to love them like God loved the church. So all the things God commanded us, that's why I use that term. So in that,
it's just refreshing.
that aspect, I believe when we have difficulties with them, it kind of affect everything else. Because if you trying to bring one, y'all trying to be one, and half of you is defected, how could you be a full anything? So very good point. You know what I'm saying? So we get into it at home. I'm a dean of a school. So if I'm getting into it with my wife, I'm not going to be the best dean the next day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to. So and another thing, since you're laughing, it's another thing, right? So just imagine that I'm in the I don't know if people know it, but Chicago called a gang war terror on 79th, meaning
really
a little boy got killed and they sent it to the police, said somebody going to die every week. And I work there. So I'm going to I'm keeping the kids that's living in that area safe. So I got 500 kids in a war-stricken gang violence area, and I got to deal with that. And I got to come home to almost divorce or talk about separation. Right. And then try to go to the studio and record. You know what I'm saying? So life was taking me away from the studio and the mic, and I couldn't understand it, but I understand now because God gave me a 3-album trilogy. Right. And
this is the third one. The first one is Regular Heart. So with Regular Heart, what was the premise? What would you, if you were to say it in a couple of words or a couple of lines?
It was me leaving the streets, trying to be a Christian rapper.
Wow, powerful.
Doing what I thought Christian rappers did, right? Regular Life was me in church. I had got signed to Universal. Go to, said I was the only rapper on the labels. It was all gospel singers. So I was trying to make an album for the church.
Gotcha.
That's what Regular Life was.
Do you feel you succeeded at that?
I did, but a lot of people I hear from Regular Heart, when they said I could see the street coming to the church, I love that. That was raw. You didn't know you didn't know the terminology, you didn't know the symbols to use. You was just straight from your heart. Yeah. And they felt that life, it was more from my head. Right. Like I was getting the best singers because I was on the label. Gotcha. I was trying to, the church are like this. So Life, it was a great project. Mm-hmm. But I'm not totally satisfied with Life because I know it's a lot of records that I didn't put on there because I was being political.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Which actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think that's wrong.
Right.
Because what I'm impressed by, and not that I need to be impressed, but what's awesome about what you did is you showed that in terms of church and in terms of winning souls, it's not always the same.
Exactly. And, oh my God, that's deep right there. And you know what? Rappers don't even look at it the same as far as like they heart. A lot of people want to, win souls. A lot of people want to be famous. A lot of people want to be a known rapper. Right. And it's weird because I never had that. I just wanted people to hear my music because I knew once you heard what I'm saying, because it's from a real place, you're gonna feel it. I didn't care about metaphor. I didn't care about none of that because first of all, I'm a people person. I'm naturally funny. Yeah. So I'm always gonna say something that's gonna attract the crowd. The rap portion was never the problem. I was always a battler, freestyle king. I never had a problem with the rap. But trying to get it to make sense and make people feel like they're not losing any, musical, any music by listening to this. Right, absolutely. I want to package it the same so you don't feel like I got to digress in my musical taste because I want to be saved.
Right. I remember that challenge. I remember.
So we talked for a long time. I only put out, less than 14 minutes of it. But I've got, I can't. It'll be interesting to play some of it for him down the road. Okay, so that's him right there, right? And then let me see. Hold on, there's another. Darn it! Let me go back. Let me try to get this other guy. All right, so this guy, I know him. That's Cell Block. So let me pull up some Cell Block. And he spells it B-O-L-K. B-L There we go. Cellblockmusic.com.
Let me see. Which one of these am I going to play here?
My source, renewing of my brain. The one that stops confusion, man, and he make it more simple and plain. The reason I'm standing, the reason I'm so bold. The kings of kings, and I've been sent to let you know he is. My source, renewing of my brain. The one that stop confusion, man, and he make it more simple and plain. The reason I'm standing, the reason I'm so bold. The kings of kings, and I've been sent to let you know he is.
I wrote the magnificent, marvelous, magnanimous savior, a sweet savor. Let's take a sec and reflect on his nature. Woo! Boy, I love that sickening, the way he commits ridiculous, never pernicious. Listen, this ignorance of him isn't bliss, or even who you think he is. You'll blink and see you missed it. His very breath is nutritious, kid. Forever wouldn't be time enough to line him up. So what I'd rather not risk is you getting it twisted, trying to get you listened for your time is up.
He the finger on the switch, he my granny with the switch. Magic stick, they all bewitched, cause even though he died, my God lives. Do you even live? He carried me, I see the footprints, and that's proof he do exist. All powerful, he don't miss. Rubik's Cube with it, I don't think you do get it. I ain't no do good, I just believe in the one who did it. Yeah, I be Karate Kid and David and Goliath with it. Odds against me, but I got the power of the Holy Spirit.
He is all my joy, all my hope, all my peace. The very breath of life that's flowing through these mortal arteries. King of kings, Jesus, Son of man, Lamb of God, High Priest, Counselor, the Shepherd, packing staff and rod. He is the King of the Jews, redemption plan for me and you. All Messiah sees us through with his omnipresent freedom crew. Trinity, he is Lord of Lords. He is the way, the truth, the light, the Christ, God alone. He is
Christ the King, no in between. Blood covered, he intervened. Took the blame like I fled the scene. I was obscene and unclean. Accepted his spirit made new. Crystal clean, what that faith do? Now I see the light like a high beam. And I'm point guard on Christ's team. Cause the taste of his grace fill my unfilled space. Change the look on my face that can never be erased. Cause the devil telling lies with a little bit of truth. Make it hard to realize when a demon in disguise. But these eyes recognize I'm spirit led, I stay fed off daily bread through words read. Serving his kingdom to the day I'm dead.
My source, renewing of my brain. The one that stops confusion, man, and he make it more simple and plain. The reason I'm standing, the reason I'm so bold. The kings of kings, and I've been sent to let you know he is. My source, renewing of my brain. The one that stop confusion, man, and he make it more simple and plain. The reason I'm standing, the reason I'm so bold. The kings of kings, and I've been sent to let you know he is.
Look into the eyes of a king. He wore the stripes like a boss. Only if they knew what they was doing, they would've gone through with it when they put him on the cross. Resurrected, embedded, infected with power, devour the enemy sour. Imagine the people surrounded, I seen him, it was more than 500 witnesses, witnessing the man of the hour. Rose like a flower, took his blood and sprinkled like a shower, so we could get to salvation, he the tower. And everybody gon' bow head before him anyway, so get to know him. When he return, he gon' show him who the coward. Praise the higher, throw him in the lake of fire. Wake up, people.
Hold up. Let me just start that one up. Let me just
go. He wore the stripes like a boss. Only if they knew what they was doing, they would've gone through with it when they put him on the cross. Resurrected, embedded, infected with power, devour the enemy sour. Imagine the people surrounded, I seen him, it was more than 500 witnesses, witnessing the man of the hour. Rose like a flower, took his blood and sprinkled like a shower, so we could get to salvation, he the tower. And everybody gon' bow head before him anyway, so get to know him. When he return, he gon' show him who the coward. Praise the higher, throw him in the lake of fire. Wake up, he wake up, liar, so I call him sire. Break up and make up empires, fully connected and he the wire.
Holiness isn't cause I took a vow. Sent to let you know he is.
Hold up, Lightman. Hold on, man.
He wore the stripes like a boss. Only if they knew what they was doing, they would've gone through with it when they put him on the cross. Resurrected, embedded, infected with
power, devour the enemy sour. Imagine the people surrounded, I seen them, it was more than 500 witnesses and witnessing the man of the hour. Rose like a flower, took his blood and sprinkled like a shower, so we could get to salvation, he the tower. And everybody gon' bow ahead before him anyway, so get to know him. When he return, he gon' show him who the coward. Praise the higher, throw him in the lake of fire. Wake up, he back up, liar, so I call him sire. Break up and make up empires, fully connected and he the wire.
Holiness isn't cause I took a vow. Rapping the kingdom, that's what I'm about. The smoking, the drinking, the greedy for bugging. I'm heading the evil to Christ, I'm devout. Die for the sinners, he died on the cross. Sick of my sinner, I'm fighting his clout. He fighting these devils, they not on his level. One sin in my teeth, and so I'm gonna floss. Floss. You don't really wanna battle with the mighty divinity Trinity, brother. You finna be the burner, humidity finna be. Wanna be sick of me, the devil, the enemy. You don't really wanna battle with a kingdom affiliate. We killing it, living the minute, the Father, we wanna know that I'm feeling it.
The one who shed his blood, only what he see the Father do, he does. Scripture calls him many names, he stayed the same, plus he is love. Omnipresent, he laid down his life and he resurrected. He in us, we in him. You can say we, God's investment. In the beloved, we accept it. He paid for the whole world's transgressions. Is he the way, truth, and life? Yeah, man, hope that answer your question. We don't doubt his word or second guess him. Every last one of us been predestined. Heard the message, believe, confessed it. We've been tested and Jesus rested.
What he said, the Alpha, Omega, the first and the last, who takes the worst the earth has, cleanses and reverses our path. I know, your high goes and you want it hurts you to laugh, but here's something to change your tune. The blood of the lamb purchase and pass. Your dirt's in the bag like only he can. Why question his fame or question his name or rewrite his words? Your hands in it won't bless you the same. And if you're questioning they resume, oh yes, he can save. I love him, I'm married to him, but no, our sex ain't the same. Yow!
My source, renewing of my brain, the one that stops confusion, man, and he make it more simple and plain. The reason I'm standing, the reason I'm so bold, the kings of kings, and I've been sent to let you know he is my source, renewing of my brain, the one that stop confusion, man, and he make it more simple and plain. The reason I'm standing, the reason I'm so bold, the kings of kings, and I've been sent to let you know he is.
I know all of them. These are my those man, I mean, anyway, I just think that I think that David, he has man, I could actually play some more, man, doggone it. Anyway, look, thank you for watching episode 3 of the Matt Ellipsis Show. I was supposed to talk about Tina Augustus, but I'll talk about her in episode 4. Thank you for your time. You guys, I'll catch you next time.
I'd like to welcome you to this Kairos moment. Welcome. I'm Rick Vessel, and I'll be your guide for the next few minutes. Listen up, so that you fully receive this impartation. The m.dot.
Every man's gotta decide whose name is a blame for the cane upraised. You can quote, end quote, Batman's Bane. If you are still Django, that's chained to the mindset of the mundane mainframe. Never is the way, it's against the grain. Is that humane? Little bit of physical pain, that's a spiritual game make do. A harvest that you inherit so you can share it, what you can carry. Treasure in the earthen vessel like Mary. 3 days down in a tomb that's buried. Don't switch votes in the boat, John Kerry. Peace be still, even though I feel that the storm is real. Greater is he in me revealed, and that's revealing. My heritage reached to teach me the faith through the greatness of Yeshua. Hey, no. I will lay hands on the sick, and I did commit to the race, and I knew the risks and the consequences of it. Sit as a lamb in the midst of the dance, and I won't get nipped by the serpent's lips up against my heel. It is finished, it is already done by the one prophesied in the curse, so I won't be hurt. I am the church, and I bruise his skull. The weapons of my warfare not dull. Just like a rock from the sink shot, made them all distraught, put them all to an open shame. I'ma drop $1 million and another like it ain't no thing.
His name is Matt Ellipsis.
You can decide to make your election sure. Believe in your heart, confess with your mind. Salvation contains
Break
the cure.
Bread Entertainment.
You will survive tribulations to endure. Believe in your heart, confess with your mind. Make your election sure.
Make it sure.
I told the planet what I would not give. When I rose to manifest it, tried to make my ministry give short-lived. I heard the apostles and I read the prophecies that we must fulfill. Moved by the fruit of the word made flesh, cause the world was framed. Not a moment less but a foundation when the lamb was slain. Original ram in the bush, so I stand with my pants on my tush and a belt that's bland, but it fits so good with my outfit, church clothes, and it's proverbial. But I know my verbs, hermeneutics, I know my word. Cloven tongues, I know my God. Some say absurd, some say that's nerve. But every man gotta meet with the law, cause it's written on the heart like a face frown. Don't matter if they fake now, McDonald's never say clown, but you know what he is. Issues flow from the id. Matt Ellipsis Show, down low, living up his soul. Then we give kingdom focused music a place to thrive, a marketplace where you can buy and support these artists' lives. Connect the dots to the district, meet my constituents. I'm not flicking my wrist, I'm box checking the list. Speaking life as a king, I'm delighted to bring you this music for the kingdom. m3dots.com.
You can decide to make your election sure. Believe in your heart, confess with your mind. Salvation contains the
Break
cure.
Bread Entertainment.
You will survive tribulations to endure. Believe in your heart, confess with your mouth. Make your election sure.
Make it sure. The Matt Ellipsis Show. Free downloads at m3dots.com. This has been a manifestation of Break Bread Entertainment, and we'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing us to serve you with the gospel of Jesus Christ. We hope you was blessed by this ministry. Grace and peace. Be blessed.
Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom.